review of Clancy by 21 Pilots. Now, I'll admit from the beginning, I do have some bias here. I am an avid fan of 21 Pilots, huge supporter of their music, love what they do, and so it is kind of hard for me to see this objectively. I'm looking through a fan's lens here as I give my review of this album. I thought this album was great. I thought it was a very good album. In my mind, it did not live up to my expectation of Trench, but it was, in my mind, about as good an album as you could expect. You can't expect every album to hit historic highs like Trench was in my book. Clancy had moments for me that will rank as all-time 21 Pilots moments. Moments on the album that, as I was listening, reminded me why I love the band like I do. My favorite thing about the album, undoubtedly, was the amount of huge rock choruses that we were given. Think of the chorus of Navigating. Think of the chorus of At the Risk of Feeling Dumb. The chorus of Vignette, or the vibe of Vignette and Next Semester, giving us a very rock-heavy sound for this album. And as someone who was in a rock band, I love that sound. All of my favorite bands are emo rock bands. In fact, 21 Pilots is kind of that one band that doesn't really fit the overall... I mean, I guess they fit the vibe of my favorite bands, but it's one of those bands that doesn't necessarily subscribe to the conventions of rock music. But these choruses really hit on a level that no other 21 Pilots album choruses have hit for me. So those highs were so high. My absolute favorite song on this record, though, wasn't one of the songs with a very heavy rock chorus. My absolute favorite song on this record is Routines in the Night. I know that Tyler didn't necessarily know whether he wanted this one on the record, and Josh fought really hard for this one and for Navigating. Two of my favorites of the album. Thank you, Josh, for fighting for these songs. Routines in the Night is one of my favorite songs on the record. I just love the... it's such a new sound for them, but it builds on familiar sounds. I don't know how to put it into words other than they've never done anything like it, and yet it felt just like them. There's a listenability aspect to that song that you can just hear it and vibe to it. It's the kind of thing like when I was first listening to Trench, there were two songs that stood out to me immediately, and that was Morph and Chlorine. When those songs came on, I was transported to a different place, and I got that with Routines in the Night. And I think it just has to deal with the vibes. The vibes are just immaculate on that song. So big fan of Routines in the Night. I don't think this is the only album we get. I think we're gonna get a double drop. I subscribe to that theory. And I think if we do get a second album out of this, that most likely that album will be darker and grittier. But this album, they explored some sounds, a very synth-heavy sound on this album. A lot of strings. And I feel like they explored some spaces with this album that they haven't done before. And I was grateful for it. I think that they did a great job with this album. My complaint with this album, if we do not get a second album, if we don't get another album drop and there's not some crazy surprise coming, then I'm a little disappointed with the way that it ends. If this truly is the end of the Trench story, the Dima story, if it's truly the end, then I am a little underwhelmed with how they ended this decade-long saga. Paladin Straight is great. I do really enjoy that song. I don't think that as an ending, it reaches the level of the way their other albums have ended. And so, for that reason, You know, maybe the music video that is still to come will tie up some loose ends. We'll maybe put a bow on it. But as it stands now, if there is nothing else, this album was a lot of fun. It was very good, but I would not put it in the same category as a Trench, because I thought Trench from start to finish was perfect. And I think that Clancy had a few missteps, most notably for me, I just don't like Lavish. There are going to be people who love Lavish, and it is a unique song. Music video is crazy creative. As a creative myself, watching the music video for Lavish made me want to pick up a camera and go film some content. But as a song, it's a skippable one for me. I didn't like it. It grew on me a little bit, but not enough to say that I enjoyed that song. Alright, so I filmed this several days ago and I'm editing now. Yeah, it's grown on me quite a bit, actually. I find myself vibing out to that song quite a bit more than I would have a week ago. Interesting how things change. Clancy was a return in my mind to some of the things that they've done throughout their career. You could see elements of the self-titled album coming through in some of the sounds that they used in the record. Especially in Paladin Straight, it really did feel like a return to self-titled. You could hear elements of Blurry Face in some of the songs, like Backslide. You could hear elements of Trench in songs like Overcompensate. And then there were some completely new sounds, Navigating, like At the Risk of Feeling Dumb. Things that I've never heard 21 Pilots do that I was totally here for. So this is my short, quick review of Clancy by 21 Pilots. Let me know in the comments if I was going to give it a score on a scale of 1 to 10. Trying to be objective, which is not easy as a fan of this band. But trying to be objective, I would rank this a 9 out of 10 for me. But let me know in the comments down below, what's your score on this album? What do you think about this album? What do you think about what we got? And what do you think about, do we have more coming? That being said, I'll see you guys in another video.